Hello and welcome. Mastery is calling. Are you listening? Thank you for joining me here. My name is Sharon Martin. I am a channel, or if you like, I prefer to really call myself a messenger. So I'm a messenger of Gaia. And someone wrote to me a couple of days ago and said, do you get all of this information from Gaia, or do you do some research? And I want to say that so I think that it's pretty much every day. I've probably had a couple of days, and actually they've pretty much been in the last couple of weeks when I haven't written something from her, but I have pretty much written information from Gaia, from my connection with her, from my connection to her, from my communication and conversation with her. Hello, Billy. Every day for I was going to look it up. I was going to find my earliest journal, but at least 6 years. And what is interesting is that, there are a lot of pieces that come or are coming together now. So we are heading into this time that she first spoke to me about when I was in the midst of this painting, and this painting is all really about this moment, about the planetary ascension and the symbology, and it holds a lot of information: the ascension flame, the ascension spiral, the flower of life, the keys and codes, the star tetrahedron representing the masculine and feminine, the changing transformational light and crystal that Saint Germain works with, sitting with the amethyst, the emerald and the sapphire, which are coming in, as healing and as higher knowing, and as these aspects of the will and of the emerald heart. So many kind of aspects, and then the flower of life, this illuminated heart that shows up sitting inside her heart space with her crystalline hair and her crystalline body. So it holds a lot. And so I've been receiving this information and the finer nuances of it over time. It's an amazing long story, and there are bits that have come and been edited and bits that have been shown and then changed, and so it's been a moving script in many ways. But yeah, a lot of what is coming through now is built on the pictorial image of the painting over in here, at least some of it. So we're in this month. It's really the most extraordinary month, and right now you may be feeling as though you are all over the place, and certainly it's challenging. The energies are challenging to attune to. It's challenging to attune to self. It's challenging maybe to tune into people or energy fields or information that you've easily been able to align with, attune to, tune into, and get information. That is challenging at the moment. And I want to say to you that the best way through it is just to ignore it, is just to be in the moment, that we're in this readjustment, we're in this reformation, we're in this reclamation, we're in this restoration. We're doing it though at a higher level, and we're in frequencies, codes, and in an energetic band with access to this higher level of consciousness that we have not ever been in physical form on the earth, ever. So it's very unfamiliar. The frequency isn't unfamiliar to us. We have touched this before, but we have not been in the kind of dance with it in our physical body. So this month of March, of course, we've already spoken about these particular key words that come in, and it's only the 10th. We're only a third of the way through this month, and already much of it is beginning to show up in the mainstream media. The revealing of some of what has gone on is being strongly shown, denounced, discussed, revealed in the mainstream media about everything to do with COVID and vaccination and lockdowns and this return to looking at what is true and rightful and lawful as opposed to legal, and returning to that law, L-O-R-E, God's law, the natural law, the way of being a sentient being here on the planet as sentient being. Our planet is sentient. That is the key reason why I was asked to paint Gaia, so that people could be in the recognition that Earth, that Gaia is a living, breathing, sentient being. So the planet is on its own, and as is the goddess Gaia. So we're looking at this raising of consciousness throughout humanity, and you'll be noticing, I'm sure you will be noticing that there is this greater awareness. Now, as I say that, my body's going into shivers. There's a greater awareness, there's a greater receptivity to something new and different. There's a greater softness. There's this coming into, for many of the collective, into this awakening consciousness, and this is going to grow exponentially during this month, and I believe we're already smelling and tasting the edges of it. Hello, Billy and Jills and Rachel. So there's this coming into balance of the masculine and the feminine as well. So that's within us. And how it shows up to me is, if you imagine a triangle made up of a flat disc that is blue and a flat disc that is pink, and they are up here, and then here in the middle at the bottom here is this golden sphere. That's how it shows up to me. The golden sphere holds the swirling pink and swirling green and swirling blue light. And the gold sphere represents the divine holy child, and it holds these elements, and those elements represent a number of things. But there's all this sort of I don't know, like, it's really hard, it's even hard for me to frame. It's as though we've got all of these lines now. It's that same story about the golf balls all coming into the same hole on the same green, and everybody on the golf course playing their balls into the 9th hole. It's like that, and it's very much like that. So everything is sort of coming into the same point. So, for example, I have noticed that there has been a lot of conversation about pillars. So pillars around the world, pillars of light, pillars being grounded in, anchored into Pacific coordinates around the earth, that Rick Jewers has been calling upon assistance from people who feel divinely guided to do that work. He presents as here, having had his higher self walk in as the Christ, and as the representative of the masculine, divine, Christed consciousness. Forgive me, Rick, if I've got that wrong. But, it's something like that. And he has direct conversations with the Father, so to Father God, and he is given direct and complete instructions on what to do. And there, there are a number of beings who are given instructions, and they might be feeling that they are doing their work on their own, and they might also be feeling that they are collectively doing their part. And I think both are true, and that we can just be grateful and appreciative for all of those. And I feel really moved in my heart when I say that, for all of those people who feel divinely guided to be trusting and honoring and working with their internal guidance for the earth, for our ascension, for the raising of consciousness for humanity, for us to come back to being this balanced, golden, breathing, sentient, healthy, beautiful, glowing, living library in the universe. And that everybody has a part to play. And if you don't know what your part is yet, then just be continuing to ask yourself, what is my guidance? What is my role? What is my part? And it may be that your part is just to come into the highest alignment of yourself. And of course, the more of us who do that and who can do that, the greater impact that we can have. But we are really in the thick of this now. This is, well, I want to say this is the countdown. This is the countdown to this dimensional shift. And so everything that we do every single day now and over the next 11 days is hugely important, is hugely significant to you, for you on your journey, with the people around you, the impact you have on them, and then the way that that feeds into the impact on humanity and to our planet. So these key words of this month anyway, just back to that sort of general overview, is about truth. There's this incredible propensity for us to be able to see truth, to hear truth, to feel truth, to know truth, to speak truth, and to be able to speak that truth to ourselves and to others, and for us to see it within ourselves and about ourselves. So we can really have this very clear, I want to say clean, this clear, clean, and very deep look at who we are. Who are you? Who the heck are you? And are you asking yourself that question? And are you asking yourself, who are you in your biggest self? Who are you in the most deeply feeling connection to your internal self, your own GPS, your inner light, your fractal of God? Who are you? And how do you feel? And how do you contribute? And how do you radiate that love out into the world? These are really good, deep, and big questions for each of us to be asking ourselves. And what do you need to reveal to yourself to line up with you? And what is the next thing for you to come into higher consciousness? What do you do for that up-leveling of frequency? And I want to say that we've really been like in the void, and that's how it's felt. It's like walking on air the last couple of days. It's been very, very interesting. That's been my personal experience as well. It's been like, let's go up there and see what I can see. And so I've moved around, and I've felt in different spaces and places. And but yeah, this is really the experience that we're all going through. It is like we are walking on water or walking on air, and we don't know quite where we are, and it feels unfamiliar and yet familiar, and it feels known and yet unknown, and it feels hopeful, it feels optimistic, and yet it's not clear. So we're just coming into this greater level of consciousness, both in a frequency way and in an awareness level. And these higher gifts and talents are dropping in, the multidimensional aspects are coming in to be embodied in our cells and in our bodies, as we've been speaking about here for a while. But maybe you're becoming more cognizant of that at this time. But certainly it's hard to read this energy at the moment, and it's challenging to feel, and it can bring in some feelings of unsurety. So these, I wrote here, these things, people and fields that you may have been able to tune into, be very in the knowing of what it is and what is going on with it. Right now, maybe you can't. And so I want to say to you, just be okay with that. It will change. It will change. All the fields around us right now, so not just your personal field, but the entire energetic field around the planet is in a state of flux. That puts us in a state of flux. That puts everything in a state of flux. It's kind of, I want to say, it holds huge purpose, because really this is about, if you imagine, if you want to be a knight of old in armor with a sword, you can imagine that what you're doing at this time is you are out with your sword, and that you are cutting down anything and everything that doesn't serve you or our world in love, in higher consciousness, in peace, in ease, in grace, in greatness, in communion, in connection, in reverence. And so this is how we are finding our way, because we haven't been there before. So it's like being in the dark, and we are learning to attune to these higher frequencies, these new codes, this higher consciousness. So yeah, I just invite you to just be in the, well, I don't know, and it's okay. I will know, and it will come soon. I really want to say that it feels to me, well, we're in that countdown, right, to the 21st, and so what did Gaia say this morning? I have to tell you that the 10th of March, which is what it is here where I am in New Zealand, that the beginning of the 10th of March feels days away to me. And I'm always having to, when I'm reading my notes, I'm always having to check in on the date by looking on the bottom of my laptop here. But it feels like I wrote this 3 days ago, and I didn't. I wrote this morning. So day 2 in this increase, and this is what we are in the midst of, and feel the complexity and the, I want to say, the magic and the magnitude of this increase in the heart, in the body, in the Christos, in the consciousness, and in the embodiment. This golden light. So you can envisage that. You can envisage it in any way that you like. You can envisage it as a ball of light, as a star of light, as a wave of light, as a band of light. It's swirling with blue and green and pink. And I was shown, Gaia told me, so this is truth and justice. This is what the colours represent. Truth and justice, love and the divine feminine balance. So we are all coming into this balance of masculine and feminine, but the divine feminine balance is coming in to have a greater impact, especially for the masculine. And this is where the beautiful men in our world are now able to be supported and feeling into their heart and being able to express their feelings. So this has been, I always think there's been, I want to call it bastardization. There's been bastardization, incurrence, intrusion into, I mean, we've all had it, but I believe that there's been more of it impinging on the masculine in our world, because they're the practical, grounded ones, and so it's easier. The feminine are more intuitive. We might notice, we might see it, we might feel it, whereas they've been disconnected from their feelings. So It's been easier. That's my conclusion about it. But they are now coming into that softness, that connection to their hearts. The love and the divine feminine balance, that's the pink. And then the restoration and renewal, so that's the green. And that's nature, and that's your nature, that's my nature, that's the earth's nature, and that's the natural rhythms and cycles, the returning to those organic blueprints which I've been speaking to you about since last month, I think. And so each of those surrounded with this beautiful golden light, this Christos light. And this is the balanced, healed, and whole divine holy child. And I believe that that is what we are aiming to and moving towards, returning to, that when we're in that place, that we are in our beauty and in our grace and in our holy divinity, and we are able to co-create from that place. And that's what I believe that we are traveling through over this countdown to the 21st. So mastery is calling to each of you today. Where are you feeling the pull? Is it your heart, your belly, your head? Wherever it is, go to your heart and follow that. Follow the pull in your heart. Your heart will never lead you astray. The blessings are flowing for many now, as more have exited the clutching. That's how it shows up to me, like gnarly, bony hands from the third dimensional world, from the three-dimensional matrix, grabbing, grappling, grasping at people. So as more have exited this clutching of the 3D world to saturate their bodies in the experience of nature, and are recognizing the contrast of how they feel. So that's what I was shown and told this morning from Gaia. I am intrigued about how emotional I feel reading this, actually. This uplifting vibration that can be clearly identified, felt, expressed as soon as one stops and breathes and notices nature and the surroundings, the signs and signals, the information perpetuated by television, radio, and the news are more easily dismissed by the masses now. Many more are aware and awake of that and seeking other avenues to examine truth. So many more souls they can hear. They are unsure what or where, but something. This is the metaphor I was shown. But something in the distance is calling them, and they are beginning to notice. So that was what I was seeing. I was seeing people, their interest peaked. They're looking up and they're looking in and listening to something calling them from a long way away. And of course, this is really, it's not so far away. It's actually inside their hearts, inside their soul. But this awareness is building, awakening is occurring, a stillness is being sought. That's the other aspect that I notice, is that in the collective, that they are seeking some stillness, some peace, some ease. Now, finding a smile, and they're also experiencing like this breathless excitement at the edges. As we lean, I want to say, it's like that, as we lean more and more into deeper self-inquiry about who we are, what we are here to do, to create, to build, and to co-create, because this is this thing that's coming online very strongly during this month, is this idea of people recognizing that they're here to do something, that they might have a passion, a penchant for something in particular, and that they will be beginning to notice that they're attracting people around them. They're attracting other people, other like-minded people who may be interested in that. And this is what will be happening in this time. The frequencies will be vibrating and bringing people in to meet, to form groups, to make change. A sense of also, yeah, this allowing the old, that old song, that the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. That came to me as I was writing this morning. This letting the wind dissolve it, blow it away, it blowing on to somewhere else. This ongoing energetic saturation is being felt and noticed by humanity as a whole. And so this is exciting, and this is meaningful, and this is profound. So I'm feeling, this is what Gaia said after we'd had this conversation. I'd written these notes. She said to me, I am feeling invigorated by the witnessing of this. So there is a sense, and you will be likely feeling it, this passion, this purpose and pull that is and or will be occurring within each. This movement that we're all going through, from this focus of self to focus on others, this, this individual to the collective, the what's good for me to what is good for all. And that all is not just humanity, that is all sentient beings. That's you and the animals and nature and the earth. It is, yeah, looking for that. What is good for everyone? This alignment to truth, this alignment to the higher, to this higher awareness, this higher consciousness, this higher reality that we wish to create and co-create. We're dreaming that up now. We're working on what is it that's important here for us individually, recognizing that the individual becomes the collective. It's like the drop in the bucket. So the sort of main themes become the collective vision. So we're coming back to this greater recognition of who we are in relation to one another, in relation to our earth, and in relation to the breathing sentient beings that we are and that those around us are, as we return to love. All we need is love. That old Beatles song, I think. Love of self, love of others, love of earth, love of all sentient beings. This deep truth rising up to recognition, these truer cycles, these more resonant movements and rhythms, these organic cycles returning, these organic timelines, these organic blueprints. So it might sound repetitive. You will have heard me say some of this before, but it's just this reminder to keep looking for the sinking. What is sinking in and what is sinking? What is sinking, S-I-N-K, and what is sinking, S-Y-N-C-H? What is sinking in? So that's the embodiment, that's the recognition, that's the epiphanies, that's your gifts and talents, that's your higher self, your greater self. And then this, what are the sinks? What's sinking up around you? What's coming in that reminds you of people, things, jobs, purpose, events? Because certainly I'm noticing that, like I was noticing the sinking of these colours, for example, these colours that I saw, and I saw that a number of people saw these colours. And the pillars, you will have heard me many of you speak about the masculine being the pillars, that the masculines were, as the pillars, they were holding up the matrix, and that they were leaving the matrix. So they're leaving the matrix to become pillars of a different nature, a different form, as these, each of us becomes a pillar. This pillar that represents the internal toroidal field, this pillar that holds up the fifth dimensional aspect, this pillar that has this illumination, this pillar that links into the Taurus of the heart, the Taurus of the body, the Taurus of the earth. These all link in, sync in, connect in. So it's just a reminder to keep sinking in, keep recognizing more of who you are, keep acknowledging yourself, your amazing self, as we're returning to being guardians of this earth, this guardianship of the resource on this earth, this sharing notion that it is not owned. We do not own the earth. The earth is this living, breathing planet of which we are guardians, and that is what many of us came here to do, to assist the earth to come back to balance, and assist the earth to come into its ascension. This also, we're returning to all of those laws, those natural laws about sharing resource and working collectively and cohesively, that we're beginning to return to the most important things being our spiritual nature, our spiritual development, our energetic connections, our energetic health. And there's a lot of other thinking that's going on, the pillars, the colours, and the water. So those are three areas that certainly I have spoken about, and I've noticed that they have been spoken about recently again. So, we are becoming more aware that the quality of our water is important. We're becoming more aware of the fractalized nature of water, of the quantum qualities and nature of water, of how it can hold our health or our sickness, how it can hold frequency, how it can move consciousness, how it can be spiralized and structured so that it is more frequency based in our body. And so we are becoming more aware of that for us in nature and the water that we are delivered. So I am going to do a meditation tomorrow. Let me just check and see if that's all that I want to speak to. I will be doing a meditation tomorrow, probably around 10 a.m. So if you feel to, you could jot down some keywords about where you want to be headed in your life, and your focus, and your spiritual work and your spiritual development for the earth, and you could bring those if you care to join me. So has anyone got any questions that you'd like to ask me before I go? And I really want to thank you. I feel incredibly appreciative and grateful to those of you who come and support me and who support my work, and I'm incredibly grateful that there are more men who are either being present, and maybe they always have been, but there are more men who are making themselves known. They're declaring that they're present here. And so this is this beautiful time for us to step into our own magic and magnificence, and that it's hard to believe. It is hard to believe that it's going to get faster and higher, more expanded, more increased. more challenging on the body every day, this over the next 10 days. But look for the good, be appreciative, speak to your body, be out of resistance, try not to judge it, stay in the heart, stay out of the mind, so that you don't take yourself into stories and suffering. And we will be there before we can blink, really. So, yeah, I am very clearly shown that we're in this movement to this new dimensional shift that will happen during that equinox, and our new world will be co-created by us, by all those who are in it. We won't be leaving the planet, remember. We'll be having what I call a dimensional shift, what Gaia speaks of as being a dimensional shift. It may show up as a solar flash, it may show up during the day or during the night. It may show up as giving us a signal that's been indicated in a couple of ways over the past 6 years, an internal signal, an external signal. We are being prepared for it, and the greatest preparation is really by being present and centered and using the breath, recognizing that we're having internal structural change. You'll remember that I spoke to you about the heart being segmented into 8 quadrants, which sounds totally non-mathematical, but 4 lower and 4 higher. That we've been having brain upgrades, that we've been having upgrades in all sorts of ways, that we are becoming more crystalline, that our DNA is being reconnected and smoothed, that it will be more connected when we go through that time, that it may be instantaneous, or it may come as a wash, that we may be put to sleep for an hour, or we may be put to sleep for several weeks. It won't matter. It'll all be about embodiment and adjustment. That everybody will be where they are meant to be, and that there are many ways for people to move into this space, and not everybody will move the same way, but souls have already made that choice. And yeah, is there anything else that I can tell you? There's other things that are happening. You might be feeling lots of energy frequencies in the head. You might be feeling a lot of heat, either in the spine or in the back, in the chakras. There's chakra merging, shifting, mixing going on. There's quite a lot of that in different places and different times. But we're coming into being the most incredible, conscious, co-creative, love-filled, light-filled, crystalline beings on the earth, living from the heart, and in this co-creative space with like-minded beings, restoring the earth to her majesty and glory. So working hand in hand with one another, and with Gaia and the elementals. There is so much that's been hidden and intruded, that we will find out, like the majesty of the trees, the power of the trees, the way that the trees instruct, the way that the trees create, and the life systems that they support, the communication networks that the trees have. And then the elementals, it's like the elementals have now been given permission and support to be more enlivened, they feel safer. So some of you will be very good at connecting to the elementals, and they will tell you what they need. They will They will tell you what they require, and we'll be back into that. It sounds all very fantastical, but I assure you that it isn't. And the elementals are the most amazing, incredible little beings, and they know so much. And we'll come back to people being, or more people being activated with speaking light language or writing light language or coding, all of that. It's too much to describe, really, but we'll feel our way with it. We really will. We'll feel our way with it. And you can hear in my voice, I feel a bit shaky. Um, but it's not nervousness, it's excitement. It's excitement, and it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, yeah, lots more to learn. And you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of this day. And I will see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. NZ time for a guided meditation. And yeah, lots of love to you.